Hello, Internet. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the DNA Sports Recap.
Should Cam Rising's number be retired at the University of Utah?
All right, so let's go ahead and get into the first subject we want to talk about. This is something that you brought up. I believe the place I saw this first was Locked On Utes is where I first saw this.
Yes.
And this is whether or not should the University of Utah retire Cam Rising's number.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So you got to start. I mean, you really got to preface this whole thing, right? So Cam Rising, I mean, this guy had a ton of career highlights, obviously. Everyone knows, consecutive Pac-12 championships, consecutive all Pac-12 honors. This guy really became a fan favorite because he took this Utah team from mid-tier to a team that was much better. He gained a bunch of school records in the way. I mean, this guy had 6,000 yards passing, 53 touchdowns in his career, 986 yards rushing. 62 of those yards came in the infamous Rose Bowl game where on a 4th and 1, he runs 62 yards for a touchdown. This guy's a Utah legend, right? So Cam is very much one of the most instrumental players for success in recent Utah history. Mm-hmm. It's just what it is. His legacy, though, was tainted by injury and seasons full of high hopes, low execution. Everyone that's watched Utah football over the last couple of years, remember all the games that Cam didn't play in and not the games that Cam did play in. Like I said before, he transitioned this program from middle of the pack to a back-to-back Pac-12 championship team. He really helped this team make massive strides in recruiting and talent acquisition because this team with Cam at the helm, he led them to wins and seasons that were just full of excitement. This team had national recognition. They were a team that every time you turn on ESPN, they were talking about the University of Utah because Cam Rising was the quarterback position. To answer this very question of do I think he deserves to have his number retired at the University of Utah? No, I don't. The only number the University of Utah has retired is 22. And we all know that the reason no one will ever wear the number 22 again. Mm-hmm. The thing is there's so many greats before Cam Rising that don't have their numbers retired currently, right? Alex Smith, Eric Weddle, Jamal Anderson, just to name a few guys that went to the NFL and made huge impact. The Utes just typically, they just in the past have not retired numbers. The only one they've ever done is 22. So I guess in my opinion, if you're going to start retiring numbers, you need to go look at some of these guys that really broke through and put the U on the map for guys like Cam Rising to start coming here. So you definitely don't start with Cam. That's not the first number you retire at the University of Utah. That doesn't mean that he doesn't hold a very unique place in Utah football history.
Yeah, you kind of just stepped all over my first question I was going to ask you on this one. Was I could not find another number that University of Utah retired.
Yeah.
It's not on the boards anywhere. There's not a jersey retired. You see the Forever 22 one, but other than that, that's it. There's no jersey numbers I see retired anywhere. So that was my first question. Have they ever done it before?
Yeah.
So my answer to this was pretty much spot on what you're talking about there. I don't think that there is a lot of players out there that if they have retired their number, if their University of Utah was going to start retiring numbers, they needed to do before this.
Absolutely.
Now, does that push out the potential of the Ring of Honor?
Right.
So, you know about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
On the west coast of the thing on the field, where the press box is, you can have your name put up there.
Yeah.
And does that is something like that going to be done? Absolutely. But again, to your point there, it's not exactly something you're just going to do right now.
Yeah,
you got to give it. I don't even think. What's his name?
Alex Smith just went up there 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes, and what's his name? Ron McBride's not up there. I'm sorry.
Right. No,
not Ron McBride. That's the BYU coach. Just blast me, Darren. Who's that? It's just out of my head. Anyway, was it Ron McBride?
I don't know.
That was the BYU coach.
No, I don't know why we don't know this.
Oh, gosh. Jeez, it's going to drive me nuts. Anyway.
But to your point, the fact is just the Ring of Honor. Alex Smith only made it there a couple of years ago, right? So we're talking, it took 15 years to get Alex Smith's name on the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And that was after a really successful NFL career where he made Comeback Player of the Year. It was Ron McBride. Huh?
Totally Ron McBride. Okay. 1990, 2002. I don't know why I did not.
You questioned yourself. Man. You got to stay strong. Stay strong, Darren.
Yeah.
You got this, buddy.
Yeah, I think like Ron McBride should have been up there before Alex Smith was. You know, I mean, just because he had some success, a lot of success in the NFL doesn't mean like there was some controversy around that. Like, why wasn't Ron McBride up there first before Alex Smith? You know, so I don't know. I think you're right. I think what they're doing right now is they're not going to be retiring numbers. I think what they're going to do is they probably put him on the slate, probably somewhere down the road to get his name up there, probably before other quarterbacks like Brian Johnson or something like that. Wasn't he the quarterback when they were undefeated? Season.
No, that was Alex Smith.
It was Alex Smith when they ran undefeated?
Yeah.
I could have sworn that was Brian Johnson. My mistake. But anyway, so when it comes to that there, I just think that that's probably more likely what's going to happen. I don't really think that they should change the way they do things to retire a number. Again, that's just our take here on that. But yeah, I think we're actually in agreement. I actually didn't think we were going to agree on that one. I thought you were going to say yeah. So I'm actually.
Especially when I opened with all of his statistics and how great he is.
He is great. There should be absolutely nothing but admiration for Cam Rising, but I think you're right. It's going to take a year or two for people really start reflecting on that and not reflecting on the PTSD moments of will he, won't he that we had to deal with for the last couple of years.
It is. You have to look at the great career that Cam Rising did have, and not the last couple of years that he was so on the fence, and you know that stuff's just still too fresh in your memory.
Yeah, and honestly, you can't blame him for any of it. You know.
No, I mean if you're going to blame anybody, it's probably Whit and his coaching staff for riding it as long as they did, and rather
not moving on.
You know, as a fan base, we were so we wanted to see Cam on the field because we wanted to win, and we had such high expectations for all these seasons. I don't know. I
don't blame Whit for it either. What I really think it is, and when it comes down to me, is just because of how new the whole NIL situation was. They were trying to do right by the players with him and Brant Keefe that had some significant NIL deals, and there was no rules in place saying that they would still get paid if they were hurt. So they were just very careful about not saying anything like that. I think that's what the front office was doing, but what the AD department was doing in order to keep everything kosher there. So that's probably where I think it was all coming from. So I don't really blame Wynn. I don't really blame Cam. It's more of a, well, what we're going to do, So I don't know, man. Do I think he should have his name on the Ring of Honor? Yeah, eventually. Do I think it's something that they should do? There's probably about maybe 2 or 3 people ahead of him before.
Yeah.
But he's definitely on that short list for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, we want to know what you think, folks. Let us know in the comments down below when it comes to Cam Rising in this recent talk in the market about retiring his number. Should he be the first? Is this something that we're overlooking? Is this something that we should be considering? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. All right, we want to go ahead and pivot over and talk about a couple of transfers, a couple of folks that we've landed over the last since we last got together.
Yeah.
The first one I want to talk about is some new transfers. And the first one's going to be Larry Simmons.
Yeah.
The 6'1", 190-pound Simmons from Moss Point, Mississippi. He was rated as a 3-star prospect and was graded as an 89 grade by 24/7 Sports coming out of high school in 2022 recruiting class. The Utes actually offered him right out of high school, but he chose Ole Miss, where he passed for a total of he posted 421 yards on 27 catches.
Nope, you missed that one. He didn't play a single snap as a freshman for Ole Miss. And then he used a redshirt season as a sophomore. And then he transferred to Southern Mississippi and had those exact stats.
Oh, yep. Okay. I see where I messed up there.
Yep, you're good.
Cool. Anyway, so other than that, what do you got on this guy?
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge pickup. Like you said, the Utes were looking for, the Utes had looked at this guy early, right out of high school, and he chose to stay near home and stay in the SEC. But he's going to add talent and some veteran leadership. This guy's been in college football for 3 years, and this is a wide receiver group that got a lot younger during the transfer period. The little bit of experience that they had chose to transfer out, take different opportunities. So this guy's got a really solid chance to be the number 1 option for Devin Dampier on the wide receiver slot. And it's pretty exciting that the Utes got one of their guys that they originally went after, right out of high school. So pretty cool to see him, come, have some experience and come try to catch some balls for the U.
I gotta ask you, man, does this move the needle for you when it comes to the University of Utah, when it comes to the wide receiver room? I think we lost a lot more than we gained with Zacharias going by Zach this year, transferring out of the University of Utah. I think it went from one of our strengths on offense to definitely, pick up these other folks that are on the portal that everybody else passed up on.
Yeah.
Where does this kind of stuff, does this improve your confidence in our wide receiving room?
I think that this helps because this guy's got some more collegiate experience. He's going to be ready to come in and contribute right away.
Mm-hmm.
Where Zacharias Williams only had one season at the U last year. He had a few blips of great catches and versatility, and you weren't really sure what to expect. This guy has a little bit more college tape. He did play all of last year at Southern Miss, and at least you can see what he's capable of, with the 6'1" frame. I mean, this guy was a top 70 player in the country at his position at high school. So he's got talent. Yeah, he didn't make it far, super far at Ole Miss. Like I said, no snaps, and then he redshirted. He was looking to get some playing time so he could get an opportunity just like this. And a lot of these guys come in really hungry and ready to come prove that they belong in a Power 4 conference, and they deserve to be wide receiver number one. So I don't know if it moves the needle, but I think it definitely helps, just get some talent back in that wide receiver room, for a little bit more veteran player.
Gotcha. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the other transfer that we got, which was J.C. Hart. This is 6'2", with 3 years of eligibility left.
Yeah.
For this guy. He contributed to 15 games over the last 2 seasons. Most of those have been on specialty teams with 62 steps on the defensive end. What are your thoughts on this guy?
I mean, the portal takes and the portal gives, man. So this is another nice SEC talent. To get a guy out of Auburn, it really hurt when we lost Cameron Calhoun to Alabama in the transfer portal, Cameron Calhoun was an NFL ready, right? He was a Michigan transfer, had a great season for us last year, took an opportunity at Alabama as soon as the transfer portal opened. So this guy is kind of that. He's got that kind of potential at 6'2". It's right in the size that the Utes kind of look for in that cornerback position. So great size, great length. He's going to be a great depth addition to a cornerback room that we actually have some really talented cornerbacks already. But this guy's going to have a chance with 3 years of eligibility. He's going to have the chance to develop into a starter down the road. That's exactly what the Utes need to keep doing, is adding depth, give guys opportunities. And this could be one that pays off.
There's a lot of talk about how the University of Utah is going to operate going forward, and when it comes to the football side of things, when it comes to these people jumping from one year to the next and kind of going all around. And when the Supreme Court thing comes down and that judgment comes down,
it's going to happen eventually. Yeah.
When we find out what's going to happen, there's going to be some changes. But currently, what it seems like what the University of Utah is doing is they're bringing in these undervalued prospects from other schools, developing them up, and then with 1 year left of eligibility, they're jumping ship and going somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I think the Utes need to kind of lean into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's been successful for them in the past, but they were like here for their senior year. But what if you don't have to worry about that? What if you know that most of these people are going to be chasing the bag in the third year, and you just focus on developing that talent and getting them in to get a decent reps out of them for 2 years, and then when their last year's eligibility is up, then they go chase the bag somewhere else?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what this season's looking like. I think that's a lot of what these players look like. They're going to find guys that they believe have skills that contribute sooner rather than later. They give these guys. The Utes have always been really good at finding undervalued talent, man. That's how they've been successful. As long as I've been watching Utah football. They pull these 3 stars out of the local state, or they go out and find them. They've got their little honey holes that they can go find these players that are good and overlooked and bring them in. And yeah, the NIL's kind of killed it because you don't have the culture of staying with the team, and
they gave you the shot.
They gave you the shot, right? Because now players are chasing money. Different conversation for a different day.
Yeah, don't blame them. If people aren't going to college, man, you can get enough money to buy a house when you're still in college. Definitely go for it.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact is like, what I want to talk about this on another episode.
Sure,
it's a whole different topic. But how NIL has saved players like Cam Rising, who 2 years ago at the end of the 2022 season, or 3 years ago at the end of the 2022 season, Cam Rising was an NFL prospect.
Did he get hurt though?
Right at the end, yeah. I mean, he got hurt in the Rose Bowl game.
Yeah, so
but that's what I'm saying.
Anyway,
he was still an NFL prospect though, right? Like this guy was going to be guaranteed millions of dollars. He ended up getting it because he ended up staying through NIL. Mm-hmm. But without that, anyways, different conversation. Okay. I do want to talk about it because there's a couple of players that is worth discussion on that.
For sure. Should be a nice piece, depth piece there at that cornerback position for the University of Utah. like you already said, we have some people there, so we'll see what happens there. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below when it comes to either Larry Simmons or J.C. Hart. Do you think these additions are something, nothing, everything? We want to hear from you. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below.
Yes.
Once again, when you're down there, go ahead and drop us a like. Check out the merch store. We got some University of Utah stuff coming, so keep an eye on that. And again, if you've enjoyed this conversation we've had on your University of Utah, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Again, this is a channel dedicated specifically for your University of Utah football content. If you're watching this on our main channel or joining us on our live stream on DNA Sports Recap, a link to that channel will be in the description down below. So make sure you check us out there.
Do it.